Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. And with Bitcoin pushing higher and this golden cross seemingly being just around the corner, everyone's asking whether or not this is the end of the bear market, and if Bitcoin can even push higher from here into the 5-digit range. And with all this happening, I can't help but be a little bit skeptical because of the fact that one good run does not define an entire market cycle. And if we look over to the left, we use this level of resistance around $6,000, nearly 7 different times over the course of a year and a half. So we're talking about some major resistance that we bounced off a lot over the course of 2018. And I think that is just a little bit too soon to say whether or not we can break this on our first attempt to the upside and on our first swing high, really in the entirety of this bear market, especially since this breakdown. So the real question over here is, will this golden cross happen? Because I believe that if this golden cross happens, it is going to be the market reversal that we have been waiting for in Bitcoin. And I think that if this actually does go through, we're going to get through the $6,000 level pretty easily. Now, with this being major resistance, it's not something that I'm saying loosely when I say that we would break this easily. But I do believe that if this golden cross does go through, this is something that we're going to be able to break, as Bitcoin would, probably break out pretty parabolically if this golden cross goes through. However, I am a little bit skeptical, as I said, because I don't think it's quite time for the bull market yet. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, and I understand that, but hear me out. So with us using this as resistance nearly 7 times over the course of a year and a half over here, really being the bottom of this descending triangle, I think that it's just too soon for us to say that we're going to break it on our first attempt out. While that would be great, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. This is very, very hard resistance, and I think that it's going to take at least 2 tries for us to be able to break this. Now, if we did break this on the first try, it would be an absolutely bullish thing, an insanely bullish thing for us to see in the price action of Bitcoin. However, I just don't see it as a great probability. If you're looking at this without the golden cross being in the play and you're saying that this is just going to break this 7-time support that held us up over here over the entirety of 2018, if you're saying that we're just going to break that like it's nothing on the first try, really without looking at this golden cross, imagining that it's not even there, I think that the concept would be silly. And so with this all being said, we have seen fake outs in golden crosses before. We had one in May of last year. We had a great run up. What looked like it was going to be a higher high only ended up turning into a fake golden cross, and then the price ended up tanking. So the question is, this is really, if this does fake out, this is going to be our 3rd fake out of a golden cross in the history of Bitcoin. So it's not like this has never happened before, because there have been 2 golden crosses and 2 fake golden crosses, and the fake ones have led to a very harsh downside in the price action of Bitcoin. And it would kind of make sense that we actually do see a little bit of a breakdown in Bitcoin here, because of the fact that you do have a rising channel in this area, 2, an extremely, if not the hardest level of resistance that Bitcoin has ever seen in its history, right above it at $6,000, with the rising channel, with a potential bearish divergence on the 4-hour and the 1-day RSI. Now, it is not confirmed yet, so don't count it as confirmed yet, but what I'm looking at over here is a potential lower swing high on the 4-hour and on the 1-day RSI. Now, if this happens, it would be saying that there are lower levels of positive momentum coming into Bitcoin on a swing high. Now, what this would mean is it's actually a pretty bearish thing to see, because it would be saying with the bulls really rallying this second attempt up, it would be showing lower levels than the previous one, showing that the bulls are getting consecutively and consistently weaker in this zone. So if that were to happen, this is actually something that I'm watching, because if you guys don't know, the RSI stands for the Relative Strength Index. And now, while it is not the end all say all for Bitcoin, I would imagine that we'd also see some sort of double bearish divergence on the MACD as well if this is the case. So I think that there are a lot of things to be skeptical in this area. Again, one good or even great run cannot define an entire market cycle. Otherwise, you'd be looking at it over here and going, well, this is an even bigger run than what we've seen over here. I mean, if you look, we went all the way from $5,700 all the way up to nearly $12,000, and that was a better run than this. However, it still failed. We've had better runs than this in the past. You can go all the way back and see historically that there have been greater runs than this that have just ended up failing. And while this one does look great, and as it, while it is for the time being holding above the 200 and the 50 EMA on the daily chart, one good run does not define an entire market reversal. And I think that it's too soon to say that this is going to be a confirmed bull market after this point. Now, if we can end up breaking above the $6,000 range and having a golden cross, I think it's pretty safe to say that, it would be looking very, very good for the bulls in the long term, and it would certainly look like a bull market from there. However, the golden cross has not happened yet. We are still under the heaviest resistance that we've really seen in the history of Bitcoin, and we are still on a rising channel with potential double bearish divergence on both our 4-hour and our 1-day chart. So with all this being said, I'm not in any kind of trade right now, but I am watching this pretty closely, because if this does actually see some rejection over here, it's going to be pretty obvious. And if this does see a breakout, it's going to be pretty obvious. It's going to be one of those things where one way or another, we're going to know where Bitcoin's going pretty soon. And that's really what I'm waiting for, is for Bitcoin to decide where it wants to go. And then once it decides if it wants to go back down or if it actually wants to break out, I want to be on one of those two trains, because I believe that, one way or another, Bitcoin's coming up for a pretty large move over here. And so with it kind of approaching the top of this channel, I can't help but be a little bit inclined to short, just because of the risk versus reward over here. I can keep a tight stop loss around the $6,000 area, but I am acknowledging the fact that if this golden cross happens, this thing is probably going to shoot through the roof, and you could see a very large upside over here. So for the time being, I am a little bit bearish on Bitcoin, at least more bearish than I am bullish, because of the fact that I do believe that one good or even great run does not define an entire market. There's, as I've said, I've said this a lot already, but you have major resistance here, rising channel over here, and potential bearish divergence on the RSI 4-hour and the 1-day, along with potentially on the MACD as well. So with all of these things really being, playing in effect, I think that the only bullish thing that Bitcoin has over here is the golden cross. And is that enough? Is that enough to say that this is going to just shove this thing up above $6,000 or even $7,000 and let it hold up there? Because if this fails, pretty much all of the bullish case for Bitcoin floats away with it. And that's the thing, that I don't want to hedge all of my argument on a single factor, because that's really not what technical analysis should be. You shouldn't see one thing and say, this one particular thing is the reason why I'm short, or this one particular thing is the reason why I'm long. And so I think that there just are a lot of more bearish arguments for Bitcoin than there are bullish arguments. And we're still in a bear market, guys. And again, one great move does not define the fact that we are in a bear, out of this bear market yet. If it keeps moving up, and as I've mentioned, the golden cross would probably seal that fate of the bear market changing into a bull market. But for the time being, I do believe that it's just too soon, and I just want to make sure that people are not getting overzealous about this move before it even happens, because seemingly that's what's been happening. And we had a $200 to $300 move today, and all of a sudden everyone's saying that this is the end of the bear market all over again, and it's just kind of this back and forth thing. So I'm not trading this range yet. I'm really just waiting for Bitcoin to choose which way it wants to go, and then I'll ride it out. Whether that's towards the upside, I'd absolutely love to long it, because I'm not only holding a ton of cryptocurrency, but longing it on top of riding it up would be absolutely phenomenal. So I'm all for the golden cross. However, I can't help but be skeptical because of the technicals. It does not look like it's quite ready to break yet. Really, there is one argument for the bulls and a lot for the bears, and that's the reason why I'm skeptical. Not to say that I'm entirely bearish, but there are more arguments for the bearish side than for the bullish side. And if you yank the golden cross out of that picture like we can right over here, then all of a sudden you're looking at this going, all right, well, this actually isn't that bullish of a scenario anymore, because you're looking like you're about to hit the hardest resistance in the history of Bitcoin. So with this being said, guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Can Bitcoin break through the $6,000 range? Is this the market reversal that we have been waiting for? If so, I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Give me a yes or a no. Give me which side you're on and why. And if you're a bear, I also want to hear your replies as to why you are bearish. And for the bulls, I want to hear why you guys are bullish. So go ahead and drop those comments in the comment section below. I will be responding to your guys' comments because I want to know your guys' thoughts. If you guys haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video.